This is the MGTOW Infinium here with an Infinium short story. This Infinium short story is entitled A Fallen Destiny. Dwayne was like most young men in his youth because right from his upbringing as a young boy, he had been trained to please. Yes, Dwayne had been infused with the doctrine of serving, of giving of himself, and putting others before him. As part of the course, Dwayne's dad had always pushed him to be the best that he could be because it was his duty to serve others. Dwayne's mother, likewise, had pushed him to be the ultimate of servants, which his servitude was to be primarily to the woman in his life. Being an obedient young man, Dwayne obliged his parents' wishes throughout all his teenage years. He sat in the institutional church every Sunday and listened intently to the pastor's admonishments, which directed young men like him to do their duty, find a good Christian woman, and marry her. Indeed, through indoctrination that Dwayne was going through, it was becoming clear that he was to build his resources to serve others, which his primary servitude was to be to his future wife. To the end, Dwayne strove to fulfill that goal by going to college and then pursuing a prominent career. During his first years in his newly found prominent career, Dwayne met Brianna, a young Christian woman who seemingly met the accomplishments of his now lifelong goal, finding a woman who he could serve. But for Dwayne, this was an uneasy accomplishment because in the back of his mind, there were now small questions about his duty, about his servitude, and about how he should lead his life as a man. Nevertheless, Dwayne and Brianna became engaged in short order. And as part of the course, Brianna quickly began making demands on Dwayne, like a large wedding, a new home right away, and so forth. Even still, Dwayne pressed forth, but the questions in the back of his mind were becoming even louder. Because of the events in Dwayne's life, his mother and father were now beaming with pride, as they both knew that their son would do the utmost to serve. And furthermore, Dwayne would bring forth grandchildren, hopefully one being a son who could carry on the family name. But even still, the questions in the back of Dwayne's mind persisted. And as well, Dwayne began to question Brianna's sincerity. Was she really the good Christian woman of his dreams? Then one fateful day, Dwayne had to go to a remote office for an important business meeting. When the meeting was over, Dwayne decided to go to a restaurant in the area for some lunch. To his surprise, Brianna was there, and she was with another man, and they were kissing in an intimate manner. Dwayne immediately confronted Brianna, which she admitted to having an affair with the man she was with, but nevertheless, it was still Dwayne's fault and not hers. Right then and there, Dwayne called off the engagement and angrily stomped out of the restaurant. When Dwayne called his parents and informed them of what happened, instead of consoling him, they pestered him with questions like, "What did you do to cause this?" Through his sobs and tears, Dwayne had unwittingly taken the red pill and was now waking up to the true reality of the feminist matrix. Initially, Dwayne became consumed with the rage often fostered by a man's consumption of the red pill. But as time passed and the rage subsided, Dwayne now realized that the questions which were in the back of his mind were now being answered. In short, it was not his duty to be a slave to the feminist matrix he was living in. It was not his duty to put women first. It was not his duty to make his needs secondary to females. But it was the stark realization of the dodging of a bullet which led to Dwayne's decision to avoid marriage altogether. Based on the experience with Brianna, as well as his eyes being open to how easily men are divorce rate in the feminist matrix, yes, it was clear to Dwayne that marriage was not for him. The no marriage stance for me, however, did not go over well with Dwayne's family, who did not accept his decision. Dwayne's mother constantly berated him about how all women are not like Brianna. She also intimated that it was possible that Dwayne had a lot to do with the breakup, even though he was completely innocent of the matter. Dwayne's father even went so far as to mockingly toast his great failure of a son at a Thanksgiving dinner gathering. It was soon after this Dwayne became estranged from his family and friends. And what was once a life filled with so-called family and friends became a life of solitude for Dwayne. It was in this solitude that Dwayne began to realize that he was able to clearly think for the first time in his life. As well, Dwayne was now free from the indoctrination of the feminist matrix. But what was most profound to Dwayne was that he was free to go his own way as a man. He was now free to do anything and everything he wanted to do without a female telling him no. He was now free to travel, start a business, enjoy hobbies, all again without any interference from a woman. Most of all, Dwayne's resources, time, finances, everything were for him and him alone. In short, Dwayne's destiny as a simp had fallen to his new destiny as a MGTOW. A few years after his start down the MGTOW road, Dwayne was a completely different man. Even though he was still estranged from his family and former friends, he no longer cared. Dwayne was now a successful businessman, had traveled the world, and had now dabbled in quite a few hobbies. In fact, one of his hobbies, photography, became a money-making venture in itself, as Dwayne sold the images he had taken on his travels to stock photo agencies. Then one day a text message from Brianna showed up suddenly on Dwayne's smartphone. Brianna had been searching for a way to contact Dwayne for some time because she wanted to rekindle her relationship with him. Her text message contained all the usual, "I'm so sorry I hurt you. I was wrong. Please forgive me. Can we meet somewhere for lunch?" After glancing at the text message, Dwayne responded, "No, because I don't need you or want you in my life." After sending the text, Dwayne deleted her text and blocked Brianna's number. This has been an Infinium short story. My MGTOW brothers, be safe, be strong, stay on the MGTOW path, and remember, MGTOW is the liberation of men's minds. MGTOW cannot and will not be stopped.